So thank you, friends, for joining us for this conversation. Although I think most of it will be us up here talking after. And thank you as well. The interest of full disclosure, I should suggest that you take seriously the things that the dean has said about our panel, but with a grain of salt of things to be said about me. About 40 years ago, I think it is, we first met, and I offered him a job, and he's been trying to take me back for another second. I'll talk just a few minutes about the Whitten Commission and share with you some visions of what assessment can become that haven't been necessarily endorsed by the Commission, but of a product that my having interacted with this excellent group of people for the past 2 years. The Commission came about as a result of a conversation I was having with the president of ETS almost 3 years ago now, when I suggested that what they do at ETS is likely to become obsolete if they continue to do it. They need to be doing some other things. And as it occurred, that was listening. Because within 4 or 5 weeks, he had the meeting with his senior officers, and within certainly 2 months, the decision had been made to create a commission, a group of people, a study group, to think about the future of assessment. And they did me, of course, the great honor of naming it for me. And I guess rather foolishly set up a budget line at ETS that I could draw upon to convene some people who would try to keep it straight. We were fortunate enough to get about 30 of the ablest minds in the country to really serve on that commission. But in a sense, it's a, I guess we call it a sham, in that the commission is only met twice. We've done a lot of consulting, we've done a lot of sharing of writings. Many of the commission members themselves wrote, but it has functioned largely as a virtual commission. Virtual in the sense that it has no real existence except in the mind of its chairperson, its co-chair, Jim Pellegrino. Because what has happened over those 2 years is that people have talked to us, have written for us. We have read, talked, and conferred. I think there are at least 3 members of the commission in the room. Charmaine Rivera, who I think is over here, who is Lopez in the Kingdom, and Eva Becker, Nurses of America, Eva is here. In addition to that 30 people, there were about 50 consultants. And one of them is on the stage, that's Mark Allen, and the other is out in the audience. It's Bob Calfee. I'm sure I missed any other of the vote. But don't blame them for, I saw a hand over there, that was someone I missed. Don't blame them for what the Commission has reported, because the report of the Commission is actually a document that Jim Pellegrino, there's 2 documents, one that Jim Pellegrino wrote, the other one that I wrote, and we got the executive officers of the Commission to agree that it was wise to release it. And I put it that way because there's some controversial issues in it. Some members of the Commission have indicated that they don't agree with everything that's there. But no member of the Commission has dissented publicly or rejected the notions. One member of the Commission who had not been very active resigned at the end of the life of the Commission and we're not quite sure whether that means that member disagree or whether it was an acknowledgement of no contribution to the work. But anyway, Pellegrino and I think that what we put down in paper represents the logical conclusions, the logical implications of the work of that commission. Having said all of that, the major products of the commission are ideas. We set out to try to change the conversation with respect to assessment, or the relationship between assessment and education. We don't know, I don't even think we can change that conversation as yet, but we do think that there is material in our reports and files, and that has been conveniently compiled for you in a little memory stick. One are the two reports. I think all of the papers and maybe some of the resources that we use, that you can have access to all of the stuff that we have access to, which led us to some conclusions. Now, the major impact on me was to inform and to some extent change my vision for the future of assessment. And I end up kind of thinking that assessment in the future will or should enable the analysis and the documentation of learning characteristics of teaching and learning processes to better inform pedagogical intervention. I will end with, I think it's 5 points that give some meat to that vision. But the last one suggests that changes in the way we think about knowledge, epistemologic changes, changes in education itself, and certainly changes in the technologies that are available to enable and support education, and in a sense, technologies that amplify the abilities of human beings will not only point us in that direction, but they will also enable it. The first of those visions concerns the possibility that assessment can and should inform appraisal for teaching and learning processes, as well as our traditional measurement of the status of developed abilities. We have a long history of excellence in the assessment of the status of human ability. We shouldn't lose any of that. That's what we probably can do without, but we should never forget that we have covered that, we developed that technology. What the Commission seems to be suggesting is that as we move forward in education, rather than settling for measurement of ability, we need to inform the development of abilities. We need to develop the capacity to appraise and document the processes by which ability is developed. Because if slogan developed in the Commission has to do with assessment for education, if assessment is to inform education, it is not more information about the status of our learners. It's information about the processes by which that status has been achieved, and even more important, the processes by which that status can be improved. The second, assessment can assure the first. Assessment for generativity as well as for accountability. There was considerable debate within the Commission about my initial position, which was that we ought not be using assessment for accountability at all. And that was my response to what I think is a destructive impact, a destructive influence on teaching and learning current usages of standardized tests to make very high-stakes decisions concerning people. We need more than that. But this concern now with assessment for generativity as well as accountability tries to strike a balance between these two. We don't give up using assessment to measure things and to see how well it's done, but it is more important to use assessment to inform intervention, to help us decide what it is we ought to be doing, to help us understand what it is we're doing that's not correct. The measurement of the status of persons doesn't contribute much to that. It is an understanding of the processes by which they are trying and others are trying to change that status. The third concerns the privileging of appraisal and assessment in the context as opposed to the decontextualization of assessment programs. Following the bite sizes, we will, in the interest of precision, accuracy, reliability, even validity, we decontextualize the things that we were trying to measure or employees understand. That modern epistemology suggests that such decontextualized knowledge is more likely to be inherent than is the knowledge that is determined in the context that is expressed. And nowhere is this more true, we think, than in assessment, where yes, you can get a reasonable idea of what I can do under pressure in the topic exam, but you're likely to understand just a little bit more about my abilities, my disabilities, the processes that I use in learning, if we study these things in context. But that may be the biggest challenge to assessment, because we don't really know how to understand things in the context of the interactions with the environments in which the performer is performing, or in the context of the perceptions that the learner brings to the situation, and certainly not within the context of the existential states that one is likely to have as one encounters either the teaching opportunity, the learning experience, or certainly the assessment experience. Fourth is going to be, we hope, a resolution of the tensions between the privileging of diversity, equity, and excellence. I wish I could claim that the Commission made some progress on this one. We made 2 attempts at just formulating the problem, and that still isn't well done. But I think there would be almost consensus among the Commission members that as the world gets smaller for all of us, as human beings encounter many of the same experiences and are challenged by the same intellectual challenges, both in education and its measurement, we're going to have to resolve the tensions between this pursuit, this honoring of diversity, we can't get rid of it, the pursuit of equity, social justice, and of course the achievement of excellence. The last one, shifting paradigms that demand and enable change. We had, I think, 3 papers prepared for the Commission around this subject. One of them, was prepared by Ms. Levy. Most of you know his name, a distinguished scholar of psychometrics. Another by a young chap that most of you probably never heard of, Ezekiel Dixon Roman, a student of measurement who really is considerably more interested in social theory. And the last slide, a distinguished older scholar, almost as old as I am, Ken Jurgen. Those of you who are familiar with the social psychology literature will know that about 45, maybe even 50 years ago, Ken wrote an interesting article in which he suggested that psychology ought to define itself as a branch of history rather than as a behavioral science. And his reason for it was that by the time that the object of psychology's purpose, the things that psychology study, or behaviors that have occurred, by the time we start studying their history. And he thought that the really important issues in psychology had to do with the here and now and the evolving. And he challenged the field to begin to not shift its focus from the past to at least to be mindful and to find ways of examining what's going on now. It seems to us in the mission that perspective from Jurgen kind of applied to what we're doing in assessment. The student learned last year or even last month, instead of learning what the student is doing in the process of the pursuit of learning in the moment. And what's evolving is really where action is. In this study's paper, he is talking about different ways of thinking about knowledge, different ways of thinking about what it means to know. The respect that we assign to the different perspectives of learning events. These present challenges for assessment. But if we're truly trying to understand the behavior of persons that we assess or appraise, one has to take these into account. At least shifting and changing paradigms force us to think differently about what we're doing. But as I suggested in my opening remarks, certainly the changes in technology and even the changes in the ways in which we think about knowing open up doors for instruction and open up doors to changing the way we assess people that the field needs to pursue. I'm not a good enough student of the wide range of contemporary practice and research in the field to know how far along this road we have come in the work of individual people scattered around the world. I am old enough and I think wise enough to suspect that most of the things that we're talking about here, the roots of them at least exist. They don't require that we retreat entirely to imagination. But we do need to start talking about them. We do need to start sharing ideas with respect to them. We do need, of course, to start systematically pursuing. So the major message I want to bring to you from the Commission is our concern with respect to what we have learned about the assessment of education. We roll up our sleeves to think more seriously about assessment for education, assessment in the interest, in the assessment in the service of education. What we do in assessment ought to improve processes, to improve our understanding and the outcomes of the processes that we engage in education. So thanks for coming to talk with us about these things.